up, YouTube? Here is the instant reaction to Chicago Bears 2014 second and third round draft picks. Yeah, overall, counting round 1 through 3 now, seeing that I gave Cal Fuller, I gave our first round pick a solid, just a straight solid A. You know, I'm like, good pick. I think people from now to yesterday, I think they realized, okay, he was a solid pick. He literally can come in and be our nickelback. Like, he literally can. Him and the 2 picks we just made, I think, honestly, just dropped our draft grade from what was honestly a A. Our second pick was Ego Ferguson, defensive tackle out of LSU. That was the predicted second round pick. You know, it was going to be a defensive tackle. I think at least by the third round, people are predicting Bears are going to draft a safety. For the love of God, Bears draft a safety. I'm sitting here, I'm like, Bears, can you please draft a safety? Now, for those who just don't understand how the draft really works or just don't really get it, they were probably expecting the Bears to draft a safety with the second pick. But I'm like, honestly, we need a defensive tackle. So it's like, we take one now. So that was an understandable pick. But yeah, third round, we drafted a guy who we have to put work into to get what we need out of him, which is not something I would have done with the third pick. First of all, it should have been a safety. Honestly, it's slim pickings. I'm like, I don't know how comfortable I am with our possible starting safety or whoever we're about to put the hell back there, because I swear, like, if Conti is who starts, people are gonna voice that. Like, you will know day one. You will know. Like, it shocked me knowing that Conti is still on the roster. I don't understand how that works. So, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, Bears, what is going on? Every second, you know, there's somebody else being drafted, whether it's a corner or a safety. I'm like, that's one more defensive back. That's one more safety off the board that we don't have, that we need. What are the Bears doing? One thing I actually heard, and this wasn't from a credible source at all, so don't take it seriously, but something I heard, which made sense, which I thought was going to happen. I was like, if the Bears pull this off, shit. Like, Bears pull this. What I heard was, like, apparently, I don't know how true it is, but there was a possibility that the Bears could have traded the second pick for Eric Berry, which sounds highly unlikely, but given the way the draft goes, I'm guessing it could have happened. Because, I mean, nobody just pulls that out of left field. Some analyst somewhere must have said it, so then it got people's hopes up. Because I'm like, shit, if the Bears would have brought in Eric Berry, I would have been satisfied completely with whatever other people we drafted. I wouldn't have cared anymore. I'm like, we're set. There we go. I'm like, draft another safety just to be safe. You can get another defensive tackle 4th through 7th round, whatever. Let's stock up on D. Draft a QB just cause. A running back, I guess. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, I think we technically do need a running back on the roster. I mean, yeah. I think we need a running back. But that's if. Clearly, that's not what happened in reality. We drafted 2 defensive tackles. We got Ego Ferguson. Decent. I mean, I guess that's the solid pick. I'm fine with that. But Will Sutton, defensive tackle out of Arizona State, there's a reason he dropped down to the 3rd. Him and Nix dropped down to the 3rd for the simple fact of one thing. They're pretty much both unconditioned players. They aren't what they used to be. So I just don't see the point of why we drafted a dude who we have to put that type of work into. Like, we have to literally, put him in the strength and conditioning program. I'm like, 3rd round pick. That's not the type of guy I'm looking for. 3rd round pick, I want somebody who can possibly come in, contribute in a way. Sub him in, mix him in with some packages. That honestly, that's what I'm still expecting out of a 3rd round pick. At least defensive wise in our situation. We could probably get that out of a 3rd round pick because that's how bad we're looking defensively. But I'm like, where was the safety? Was the safety in their mind? Did the safety they planned on getting, was he taken? Like what happened? Like, I'm sitting here. Let's look at positions. Round 3, there were 2 safeties taken. And that was Desmond Southward and Terrence Brooks from Florida State. And it was, Desmond Southward from Wisconsin. The safeties that are left, I don't feel safe with any of these dudes. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, they're saying Brock Vereen, maybe. His 40, oh shit. Oh, no, that's not his 40. His 40's I was looking at something else. Wrong thing. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'm guessing, like, there has to be something. Like, I think the Bears plan on trading for a safety. Who knows what? I don't know. We got to be doing something. There has to be some plan. I'm like, usually I'm the type of dude who doesn't draft going based on what school they went to. But I'm looking at this list. I'm like, okay, we got a Minnesota safety. We got a Western Kentucky safety. And then we got an LSU guy. And then you honestly look at the rest of the list, it's like Baylor, Michigan State, USC. I'm like, this list is kind of thin at that position. All the legit quality dudes are mostly gone. Are we going to take Pierre Desir? Is that who we're going to try to get? In some way, I mean, he's not a safety, though. Like, I don't know. Can we groom him into a safety? I don't know what the Bears are trying to do. I'm so lost. I'm just so lost with these picks. Like, I don't know. I mean, we technically still can get somebody, but I know everybody's sad. So the overall grade, completely rounds 1 through 3, all together, mashed together, I'm giving it B minus. The lack of them drafting a safety with that 3rd pick dropped it into that minus, that B minus. It's just that technically on paper we need the defensive tackles, but I'm pretty sure, I honestly feel we could have gotten a safety third round, and then I feel like we could have gotten a safety third round, and honestly got a better defensive tackle than the Arizona. Like, I feel like we could have gotten a better defensive tackle than the guy out of Arizona State that we just picked up. Straight up. I'm like, when you look at the defensive tackles, you still got Anthony Johnson, Daniel McCullers. Yeah, I would have taken Daniel McCullers over Will Sutton any day. In a heartbeat. I just don't see what the Bears were trying to do. I don't. They got to be planning something. I don't know. So yeah, it just dropped. In my book, the draft grade is down to a B-. Now the thing is that we still drafted on the defensive side. As long as we didn't draft in a position that we don't need, I'm fine. Because if we would have drafted like a tight end or just something that we didn't need, it easily would have dropped our draft grade into like C range. Because everybody been sitting there like, why in the hell what's the point of that? If we would have drafted a quarterback third round, that would have been so pointless. We don't need that, not that early. We can get a QB, honestly, 5th, 6th, 7th round, and it would be fine. We're not trying to draft a dude. Because I'm like, if color goes down again, they're not going to put a rookie in. Bears ain't going to do it. Like, I don't remember the last time that they've... Well, other than Kyle Orton. But that's just because, honestly, I think it was Grossman and Orton. For some reason, the Bears love not really having QBs on the roster. So, I'm giving it a B minus. It's give or take. I really feel like with that third pick, we could have gotten better. We could have gotten it. Like, if we were going to take another defensive tackle, I feel like there was a better option. Other than that, we should have taken a safety, hands down. Please be planning some sort of trade. There has to be something. Like, the Bears got to be doing something. They got to be planning something. I'm like, are there still safety free agents out there? I don't know. I'm sitting here. I'm wondering. I don't know. Let me check. Is there something I'm not seeing? It got to be something. Free agency? What? Is there something I'm still not seeing right now? You know, mostly all the safeties are pretty much... Well, the best safeties are... I'm looking at this list of safeties that are there. Reed Doty, no. Mike Adams, I don't really know him. Steve Breger, it's just a bunch of dudes we don't know. We picked up Ryan Mundy. MD Jennings, Danny McCray. I'm like, God, Bears, please don't tell me that one of these dudes is about to start. Mundy will probably happen. Because I think Mundy's a semi-consistent dude. I think Mundy's okay-ish. He's better than what we have. And I feel like the Bears picking up these safeties that we picked up, I think that's the route they're going with this. We might still draft a safety, but apparently they must have put in a quite decent amount of faith in these free agent signings. Like, that's how it's looking right now. I can pull up the Bears roster. Actually, let me pull up the depth chart. That's more specific. At safety, we have Mundy, Walter Stultz, Conti, Jennings, Jesus Christ. And for the simple fact that it has Conti listed as the starter, depresses the fuck out of me. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. I think Jennings is going to start free safety. Mundy's going to start strong safety. That's the way this is looking. Isaiah Frey, Tillman's going to start. Jennings, Briggs. Williams, yeah. Strong side linebacker. What the fuck? That's questionable. That's real questionable. Defensive end. Yeah. Things are looking real suspect for the Bears D right now. So, now that I look at defensive tackle wise, I see why we just picked up 2 of them. Yeah, I see it. Israel Donajay, I feel like Izzy, I think he'll start. I'm pretty sure. Or will Willie Young start? Let's see real quick. Let's look at these numbers. Because Izzy didn't really do a lot of anything last year. I think Israel Donajay, he'll be flip-flop in and out between him and Willie Young. I see that happening. Lamar Houston, yeah, he's going to start. Shea McClellan, he just... some people hate him, some people don't have an issue with him. So it just all depends. I think, honestly, this is the season where the Bears fuck around and switch to the 3-4 defense. Like, this will be the year it happens. I think it's going to happen. I think the Bears might switch to the 3-4. Looking at what we have. Because when we drafted McClellan, he technically had just spent his time at Boise State playing linebacker. So maybe he's more impactful, playing in that way compared to defensive end. I think we switched to the 3-4. That way Bostic, McClellan, they'll both be out there playing. I'm trying to remember what happened with DJ Williams. Like, did he get... Like, what happened with him? Because he ain't do a lot of nothing. Was he injured last year? He only played in 6 games. So, yeah, he got injured, now that I think about it. John Bostic. Yeah. So I think DJ Williams... I think, honestly, at the end of the day, sadly, this is just might be the year Bears end up switching to 3-4 defense, just for the sake of God. Like, the way things are looking, that's the safest route. I feel like we switch to 3-4. Probably won't happen, but I feel like it needs to happen at this rate that we're going. The way things are looking right now, we switch to the 3-4. Maybe we'll get more out of McClellan that way, if we can have him as a starting linebacker, We'll have him, Bostic, DJ Williams, Briggs. Yeah. But, yeah, Bears B minus overall at this point. That 3rd round pick, we could have done better. We could have gotten a better defensive tackle. At the end of the day, we could have done better. We'll see how this goes. There's 1 day left. We're gonna get this all knocked out. Maybe these next picks makes sense. Maybe the Bears make a trade. I don't know who it would be for. I don't know. We'll see. So, peace.